I would have come in with full options, and one of it wouldn't have been removal of subsidy, and one of it wouldn't have been floating of the naira, because you have seen the effect now and the impact. So many of these policies are not thought out because people who come to power in Nigeria don't prepare for governance. They prepare to get power and then use it to benefit themselves and people they work for. That's what you get when you have that mentality.
So how do you relate to the fact that someone who campaigned with 88-page document?
Who?
President Bola Tinubu.
He probably never read it.
Never read his document?
Yes. There's a difference between throwing out a campaign document and having gone through it yourself. Are you shocked?
But the fact that he prepared this document.
He didn't prepare. It was prepared for him by his people.
You wouldn't have prepared yours yourself.
Yeah, I can prepare my own documents myself. I manage my social media pages myself. Tinubu doesn't. There's no presidential candidate, maybe except from Adewale Adebayo, who I know that runs social media pages on their own. So I prepare documents. I write stories. I'm a journalist. I'm a writer. I can prepare documents myself. Okay. And I do, but I'm not saying that there is no input in my own documents. But I'm aware of whatever was done. But most of these other candidates are not aware of what is in their documents.
You know, many times you sound as if you are a saint, Mr. Omoyele Sowore, and to some persons, it's your selling point. But some persons who know you will say, no, Sowore is not a saint as he portrays himself.
What is it that you have to show that I'm not a saint? Even though I've never claimed to be a saint, maybe that's not how I want to portray it. But who is the person that knows me and that says I'm not what I said I am? Do you know one, or you're just trying to figure out how to prove that I'm not who I am? Because we're a journalist. Let's discuss what you know. And I'm a public figure. I'm not entitled to keep portraying myself as who I'm not over time. If you have a contrary opinion, because if I was sitting in your seat, I will ask you direct questions about it if I have information that is contrary to what you're telling me.
Okay, with the state of things, you talked about the fact that the incumbent president wasn't prepared. That's
it's obvious. He even said it that during his inauguration that he never prepared to remove subsidy. That he just threw it in. So if he was prepared, why was he not contained in his inauguration speech? That's just one example. But is there anything around now that shows that he's prepared for the fallout of his policies? I mean, people are walking around on the streets because they can't afford to buy petrol. People are out of jobs because the little they have been dislocated by the removal of fuel subsidy. The naira, which is the currency of the country, has fallen apart. We're not talking about the exchange rate of the naira alone to the dollar. The exchange rate of the naira to CFAs or the Ghanaian cedis, have you found out? It's 70,000 naira to one cedi, a Ghanaian cedi. Are you telling me that someone who is prepared enough would have thrown his nation and under the bus?
But the explanation of the oil marketers, as actually reiterated by the NNPC boss, is the fact that market forces, and so it suggests as if this has nothing to do with the president, though he announced the removal. But market forces.
Did you vote for market forces? Did you see market forces on the ballot in 2023? We voted for a president, not market forces. Market forces are a bogus way of relinquishing responsibility. Why is it that America doesn't allow market forces to determine fuel price? The American president talks about fuel price and how to ameliorate the cost of fuel. If you're an American president and gas prices go beyond yourself, people cannot buy gas and it's disrupting just their vacation because it's summer. You will not win the election. And you'll be guaranteed of losing the election next time. because market forces are not the forces we vote for in elections. We don't vote. If market forces were to be let loose everywhere in the world, nobody will be able to afford anything. Because market forces are there to make you pay through your nose. So when people just carelessly, throw the word market forces, then what is the NNPC doing selling, regulating, and fixing prices? If you have to fix the price of anything, that means you yourself have admitted that market forces cannot play that role for you. Otherwise, petrol will just sell for whatever, the market forces determine. And where is the office of the market forces? I would like to know.
Okay, so what do you think can be done at this juncture?
I think the Nigerian people must realize that making these continuous mistakes in their life of voting for the wrong people to manage their economy and run their lives should stop. And this is, for me, one of the final straws. But I was here with you a few months ago, and the questions were very similar. Why you're not popular? Why are people not voting for you? Don't they understand you? They understand me, or maybe they don't understand me, but now they understand the market. Yes. So the truth is that except people stand up for themselves, they'll fall for anything. And then people are falling left, right, and center right now. Both metaphorically and physically.
Okay, so I'm just wondering that if you've been voted in,
yes,
you perhaps would not have been able to predict whether this will be happening also or not.
I would have been able to predict it because I was prepared for it. I was prepared. I had a blueprint for addressing inequality, poverty, unemployment.
Tinubu said it took him about 20 years to prepare for this.
He didn't. That somebody was around as a godfather doesn't mean that he was prepared for leadership. You understand? Does this show that he was prepared? Is that not the same thing Buhari told you? That he was prepared for leadership since 1984. 8 years after, can you honestly look back and say he was prepared? The only thing he was prepared for was how to travel to the UK, spend vacation, and treat himself and take care of his family. I think that was the only thing it seemed like he was prepared for. So the mere fact that somebody made a claim that he was prepared to run a country doesn't mean that he was prepared. You have to see that he's prepared. You have to see it from action, not even mannerism. In 2015, people were so dazed. They were looking for excuses to explain why Buhari was so useless. They started saying that it's body language.
Mr. Sowore, that's a word, an adjective that I won't welcome. That was a big one,
But I'm used to telling you the truth. Yes, the opposite of useful is useless.
But that's a word that you don't use on air on someone who has earned an exalted, position. If you're the president and someone use that adjective to qualify,
if I'm president of Nigeria, it won't be my job to be pursuing adjectives on radio stations on air. You will be running the country. So maybe you have never seen the late night shows in the US before, where they take their president apart every night during the daytime. Part of what we need to learn is that citizens should have a right to freely express themselves, and they should use the right adjective for the right people and the right situations.
Okay, so maybe
you call it an adjective, right? I've used it to describe if the president himself disagrees, or former president, he can take me to court. He once took me to court for abusing him, right? Cyber stalking. He lost, and I was using the same adjectives. But he didn't understand the meaning of adjectives. But when we got to court, they made him understand it. And he ran
has
away.
That case been decided finally?
They've removed that particular part since 2019.
Are you still in court with the state?
Yes, I'm in court with the state. I'm in court with a lot of people. I have over 14 cases. 3 criminal cases, and about 14 civil cases. So and they are all cases that evolved out of my fully expressing myself publicly, either writing or in speech.
And I'm wondering how you're prosecuting all these cases simultaneously.
I'm still here, that means I'm doing very well in the courts.
At some point in time, your movement was restricted to Abuja.
Yes, that was lifted.
How did you? Okay, that was lifted.
But my movement is still restricted to Nigeria.
So you can't travel out of the.
They seized my passport. So,
maybe one of the reasons why you should be careful in the usage of
I don't
adjective.
have to be careful. They need to be careful with us. They're pushing us. They pushed us to the wall.
Okay, so many Nigerians will tell you, I mean those who are in the know, they will argue that bring a saint to come and rule Nigeria. The system is faulty. And so that system will end up overwhelming whoever sits on that seat. So, has it ever occurred to you, have you thought in that line that truly Nigeria's problem may be a systemic one that needs to be fixed?
The question is, have you ever tried a saint? Not people who are masquerading as saints, and see whether they will do it right. But that's not the question. The question is that when systems are broken, they are fixed by people. Systems don't fix themselves. Even computers, artificial intelligence that everybody talks about today, they still need human guidance to make them work in the interest of a majority. So, whether you like it or not, what has been undone by the criminals have to be fixed by saints. Maybe a saint is a person who has capacity, who has vision. That's what people are looking for a saint to. It's not a Catholic pope. You understand? Otherwise, in fact, for you to be a saint, I think you have to be dead. So how are we going to get a saint? We are looking for people who have capacity here, people who have conscience, people who have understanding of the problems, people who have courage to tackle these problems. And there's a lot of low-hanging fruit out there, which makes it difficult for me sometimes actually to be arguing with reporters and presenters on TV and radio sometimes, because we all know the problems. Even you know the problem, but you are trying to engage me and the public just to see how best you can bring, you're trying to bring the best out of me. That's why you're asking this question. It's not as if you don't understand it. You understand that these problems are not as difficult as they are. And you know that I can solve the problem. Because I'm sitting down here, I'm not reading anything. The people who don't know how to solve the problem would never sit with you and answer your questions for 5 minutes. You know that. You're never going to, there's no way Tinubu is coming into this studio, even if the world comes to an end, and have an engagement with you for the period of time that I've had it with you and not falter. No, and you know that. So
now, do you believe, because some persons have said that, no, Sowore, maybe his system, his belief system is meant for another country and not Nigeria?
No, there's no country that the belief system that fixes things is meant for. It's meant for everywhere. It's meant for hell and it's meant for heaven. You understand? Because there's order everywhere. The only difference between order and heaven is that it's the first rule. There's also order in hell. The only problem with it is that it's the last rule. You understand? So there's no system that needs me in Ghana that doesn't need me in Nigeria. The problem is with the belief system of our own people and their conduct and their decision making in choosing their leaders. Because you have a right every 4 years to choose leaders that can change your direction. And you know that. Everywhere I go, people admit that my ideas, my policies, my decision-making process, my consistency over these years, my exposure can fix things, because I've demonstrated that I can innovate and that things can evolve in my own private life. I've shown perseverance. I've shown that I have capability to adapt to situations that can change the country. So everybody knows this. But the problem is not with that. The problem is the mindset that keep perpetuating the fear of the real change that we need. So they keep telling people, well, Sowore is good, but he's not tall enough. Sowore is good, but he doesn't wear agbada. Sowore is good. Where's his car? Why is he not driving Bentley? So, and Sowore is good, but we need a lesser evil to run the country. We need, some people will even say graciously and shamelessly that the devil they know is better than the angel they don't know in this country. So then they keep voting for the devil and expecting the angels to fight when the devils do them dirty.
Pre-2015.
Yes.
If I look at your level of participation in politics,
Yeah.
I will conclude that you're one of those who saw President Buhari to Nigerians.
This is a lie. This is a problem. It's like people just perpetuate lies because they don't have enough truth. Everybody goes and repeat the same thing. And when you put them right, they might accept, but maybe they need the content to keep perpetuating the lie, because that's how we behave in Nigeria. I've never supported Buhari. If I've ever supported Buhari, you would have found evidence of it. Buhari himself would probably have presented it if I've ever met with him. Somebody who would want to hurt me really bad on my reputation would have said, no, don't mind Sowore. Here is the day we met at, the Hilton and room so. This is how we deal with him. No. So people say that just to make themselves feel good about the positions they have taken, which is mostly a lie. And some people just say it because, they just can't deal with the fact that I have maintained a position over here. I didn't start politics in 2019. I started in 1993. Right? The evidence is there. Me standing behind Abiola and all that, conducting his burial and all that. I've been a big part of the media movement in the country. So how is it like for 30 years you can't find evidence? You're always like digging under the ground looking for evidence that don't exist.
2027 will soon be here. Is Sowore tired or Sowore is still coming?
2027 is not going to be here soon. It's a long time from now. And with these guys who are in power, we are going to have longer days and longer nights. So don't start thinking. Think about how you get out of 2023 in one piece first.
You have your fears?
I don't have fears.
For Nigerians?
I have to tell you the truth. I have to tell you the truth. That's not fair. I'm sharing with you the reality of what is coming.
But Nigerians' resilience, does it not bother you? Don't you, at times ask yourself, where is the strength coming from? Nigerians.
This is not strength. This is weakness. It's weakness. Strength is not something that debases you. If you have strength, you'll be respected. You'll live in a respectable member of society. But if you are debased, you are not strong, and you call it resilience, no, that's complacency. Being complacent is different from being resilient.
So to you, Nigerians are complacent?
A lot of Nigerians are complacent. Let's be honest with ourselves. There's mass complacency.
You sold an idea to them some time ago. Yeah. Not many people bought into it. You ran into trouble with the state, your revolution, whatever, at that time. Yeah. Many Nigerians stood aloof, looking at you. Mm-hmm. The ones you took along eventually were wounded in the process. Some of them, whether some have recovered, is another ballgame. So it would suggest that perhaps Nigerians, out of their resilience, they are contented, with the status quo and all that.
They're not contented. It doesn't look like they are. If people are agonizing so much that you can even hear, you can hear their silence, then that doesn't show that they are contented. They're not. And by the way, Revolution now did not injure anybody. It probably injured me more than anybody else. But you know, the great news is that more and more people have now understood what I was saying in 2015.
So your level of followership, you believe, is higher now than it used to be?
I believe so. And my followers are not the kind of followers we are used to. Not loud people. People when people are convinced, they may not necessarily be loud.
Do you see yourself being on a long race?
Every struggle for justice is a long one. It took blacks in South Africa. The ANC particularly was formed in 1928 or 1918 or thereabout. They didn't win elections until 1994. That's a pretty long race.
Are you cutting for sin? You ready? Is
Well,
the inner strength there?
Oh yes, absolutely. I think I've demonstrated 30 years of resilience, in which I've been through it all, except death.
Let me open the phone lines so that the people can interact with you. Abdullah Arasi Badmus on Facebook says, "Brother, no greetings to our big brother Omoyele Sowore on the legend IBR 92.5 FM. Okay, you would have called him, if you had called him Omoyele some years back, perhaps he would have taken it. He says is Baba Yele now. Okay, so the Omo has grown to become a Baba. All right, the numbers to call. You want to engage Mr. Baba Yele Sowore, 0916 104 7698 0811 052 6487 0902 280 9257. These are the numbers to call. You want to engage in. He's a presidential candidate in the last election. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Please.
Your name, sir?
I've been listening to radio for the first time.
You are happy listening to the radio for the first time?
Yes, this is my first time.
Okay, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Sunday. I'm calling from Ijokodo.
Okay, Mr. Sunday from Ijokodo. You're welcome.
Yeah. This is my first time I'm happy listening to conversation on radio that has to do with Nigeria. I'm seeing the man sitting over there, Mr. Sowore, as someone that is truly learned person. I'm not an educated person now. I speak English, the little one I'm saying by grace of God. I've seen someone that becomes a presenter like you, because the speech I've made presenter like you not to even say the truth. You go indirect, and I know, as Mr. Sowore has told you, you know the truth. He is the man that has seen the truth for the first time, that pretender cannot counteract again. Sir, Mr. Sowore,
Yes.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Continue
Good
to
afternoon.
strengthen you.
I
want to correct a notion from you this morning in your speech. You also understood, sir, that youth does not count in Nigeria. So the Nigerian people are not the one making the mistakes. Even if they vote this last election, I want to believe Nigeria, some of our, not the entire Nigeria, some Nigerian vote for Obi. Nigeria really need to change. Nigeria knows those who are not going to offer, who have nothing to offer this country. But as you have said this morning in your Yoruba interview, you also knew that number is quite different from voting. But what is the way out?
All right, Mr. Sunday, what is the way out? That's the question. Let's speak from others. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Samuel.
Samuel from where?
I'm calling from Lagos.
Okay, Samuel from Lagos. You're welcome.
Yeah, it is my pleasure to welcome my leader in the studio, person of I so much believe in him, and I've been a follower for quite numbers of years now. The only thing I just want to say is that Omoyele has really written his name in the book when it comes to struggle for better governance in this country. But the only thing that makes me sad for this country is that very large number of Nigerians, just like Omoyele, are useless. Because you can't tell me that you are not useless. For them to see somebody like him, Omoyele, 215, do the first electoral campaign, and go and vote for people who are going to do it, that will compound their problem. They are very large number of Nigerians are useless. So there is no apology to whatever I do.
Oh, okay, Mr. Sami from Lagos. The line dropped from your hand. But the truth of the matter is...
well, let me clarify that I didn't say that Nigerians are useless. I was referring to a particular former president of Nigeria.
And,
so because it's important that we understand that Nigerians are also a victim in large numbers.
And I requested that you show, you talk of... of respect for...
I don't have respect for Nigerian leaders who have ruined Nigeria, and I don't have apologies about it. I don't...
Can we just do this, the last call? Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Anu.
Thank you.
I want to tell you that you've done a very great job. I want to announce to Mr. Sowore, I've always been hearing about you from afar, but I want to tell you you have another follower in the person of me, because you are clicking, you are raising intelligence in me. So I want to say...
But what's your name?
One day. That's it. Thank you.
Oh, okay. You didn't tell me your name. Oh, it's gone. The calls are here.